Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Jonesin for Wins. My name is Craig Havens. I don't know what Jonathan is doing right now, but we are in our new little squarey box thing here. Jonathan's over there, and I'm over here. And anyways, we're here. We are going to talk about the game where the Cowboys had the Eagles come visit, and they played a good game. So we're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about the glory hole. We'll go through the little bit on the game coming up here against the Titans, and we'll go from there. Jonathan, initial thoughts of the game. I'll give you numbers and everything as we go, but what are your initial thoughts? Game went well as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, good job. My initial thoughts on the game were, do we have a defense anymore?
Right.
Like, what happened to our defense? They're terrible. My other initial thought was our offense is pretty good. If the Eagles' defense is as good as everybody was saying they were, unstoppable, blah 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 blah, we looked really good. And my third thought was, I think T.Y. Hilton showed how terrible our second and third choice at receiver is.
Yeah.
In one play.
Yeah, in one play, and that's it. Like,
I mean, he had two plays. He forced them into holding, allegedly forced them into it. But yeah, those two things. But like, do you have any confidence that if that had been Noah Brown or Gallup, they would have made that catch?
No, that ball though. I don't know if you saw. They had later on.
I saw the end zone.
Yeah, the end zone view.
That is so cool. Yeah,
man, yeah. So that ball was thrown well. So
yeah.
I'd like to say I could have been the one that caught that, but I would have been like this and then tripped and then rolled around a few times. Ball would have hit me in the ass, and people would be memeing it forever. And
can you run 50 yards?
Well, no, I would have had a head start. I'd be on a golf cart. So, I mean, here's my take. You know, it's
real quick, Craig. When's the last time you've sprinted, like actually sprinted?
So I will tell you, and that was during the game, actually, not a lie. I sprinted because I opened the beer. It was right after the pick six, and all of it started coming out of the top, and I was down in the theater area that I had built. So I had to run out to get out of the carpet area over to where the bar is going to be, so that it didn't overspill onto my sofa and more recently than you would have that if I had. Yeah. If I had an over-under of days and I said 3 days, you'd be like, oh, I'm taking the over by far. Right? Yeah.
I honestly can't remember the last time I sprinted. I'm kind of afraid to. Because you know when you were a little kid and you would sprint so fast that your body would be going faster than your legs?
Yes.
I feel like, I don't know that any part of me...
Because you start to fall forward and you're like, I can't keep my legs up.
Yeah. I feel like that's exactly how I would run now. Like...
And that's why I would have fallen over, rolled, and the ball would hit me in the ass, and it would be a meme for life. So
the butt catch. We had the butt fumble. Now we have the butt reception.
Exactly. So my thoughts on the game. I mean, listen, I said it before. I'll say it again. You know, if I were to pick a MVP from the Eagles, it's going to be not Jalen Hurts. They didn't need it. Listen. If Jalen Hurts played this game, do you think the Eagles would have scored 41 points?
No, I've been thinking about this a lot. I think two things. I think we would have sacked him more than we sacked Gardner Minshew. He would have had one rushing yard. Right. I think we would have sacked Hurts, and I think he would have had just as many interceptions, maybe one more.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it, and then I look over the game, and I'm like, we played better than they did. And granted, there was... You know, they had, I don't even know what banged up they had. They just missed their quarterback, and I think they have a cornerback out or something like that.
Well, that guy got hurt. That
wasn't right beginning of the game. We were, so. But Dak went 27-35, 374 yards, or 347 yards, 3 touchdowns, obviously the 1 interception. Zeke had 16 carries, 55 yards, 1 touchdown for a 3.4 average. You know who our second leading running back was with the highest average?
Dak Prescott.
6 for 41 yards. 6.8 average. Pollard was 9 for 19. He had a tough time getting going there, huh?
He did.
And then you've got CeeDee Lamb was 10 receptions, 120 yards. He did look good. I will say he looked really good. 11 targets, so he dropped. I don't even know if he dropped one. I don't remember the one.
No, I just think about that.
2 touchdowns. Pollard was our second leading receiver. 6 receptions, 41 yards, 6.8. And then, nope, I lied. Pollard was Pollard had 6 receptions, 61 yards, 8 targets. T.Y. Hilton had the 1 for 52 yards. Schultz was 3 for 43 yards on 4 targets. Gallup, I don't know what's going on with Gallup.
He can't get open, man. I'm telling you, he cannot get open. The one catch he made was so contested.
He had 4 catches.
He cannot get open. He can't get open.
4 with a touchdown. 4 for 36, 1 touchdown out of 7 targets. And it just seems like something's going on there. He's not. His speed's gone. And it just seems like, yeah, he's not finding a way of getting open. So
I think they'd be better off putting Pollard and Zeke out, splitting them as second and third wide receivers.
I hope that doesn't come to that.
I mean, honestly, like watching AJ Smith. What's his name? What's Smith's name for the Eagles? Devontae Smith. Watching him as a number 2 receiver made me really sad because that dude was wide open constantly. And like he constantly wide open. And our number 2 receiver, they're like right on top of him, and he's having to make these crazy weirdo catches.
I do believe we don't have a true number 1 receiver. We just don't.
I think CeeDee Lamb could be a true number 1 if you had like a good number 2, but he's the only guy that can. Noah Brown gets open. He's just not athletic enough to like be wide open.
Yeah. Well, this is where we're at right now in life, and we'll just have to.
Do you think Washington's going to get cut?
He has to, right? There's no reason to keep him.
Yeah, I would cut him.
Like, I don't know why we have him, period. So, yeah, I would. Defensively, I mean, Curse and Bland each had 1 pick, and, I mean, great job there. Yep. With 2, Curse had a fumble recover. Barr had a fumble recovery. Yeah, I mean, it was, but again, I'm disappointed. 0 sacks. It was 0 sacks, 0 quarterback pressures. Like there was, hits. I mean, there was no quarterback hits. I think we only had two tackles for a loss in the game.
Yeah.
And listen, the Eagles have a good front line, but we can't put a performance like that. That's how they end up with. Well, I just had 27 points altogether on offense.
Cowboys aren't even getting holding penalties called on offensive lines anymore. I remember like earlier in the season, offensive lines were always getting holding, false start, nothing.
And I don't know. There was something that was keeping Parsons from getting in. Like he was getting held constantly, and even they wouldn't even call all of those. But there was plenty. Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's like that defensive line just said,
Yeah. I wonder if it's the defensive backs because they are getting the ball out faster. That's why I think Jalen Hurts would have had more sacks because he doesn't have as quick a release as Gardner Minshew. Like he has that slow wind up, long throwing motion, and Minshew's like snap, go. And with those 2 defensive backs that we have in there now, like he can pick one of those and just throw right away.
Do you think that's better planning by the offensive coordinators of the other teams, or do you think that is?
Yeah. Well, I think it's
something that's completely open, and we're just letting it happen.
I think it's happening because our defensive backs can't get up on the line of scrimmage. Only Diggs can play from the line of scrimmage. The other 2 guys, they have to give them a big cushion, and so they're just hitting those guys right away.
I can see that. All right. So, I mean, that's where we're at right now with things. I was happy with the game. I really was. I've got some. The defense is.
Were you happy the whole way through the game, or were there times when you were angry?
So I was actually reading when after the game, I was reading about Dak Prescott, and I guess he was after that pick 6 as he was chasing after him. He was saying, in my head, all I kept thinking was, "Not again," or "How is this happening?" or something like that. Like, and it was exactly what was going through me. Are you kidding me? Like this again? Come on, how can this be?
And then the crowd booed him when he came back in for the next drive.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, can you?
I get it. No.
I mean,
no.
But yeah, I mean, he came back and he played outstanding after that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna make a mistake, but you weren't able to watch it in the same time as everyone, so right. I wanted to. As soon as that happened, my phone was in my hand ready to text you. Glory hole filled.
Yeah.
But no, after that though, I got a lot more comfortable. And then as it became a game, it became a fun game to watch. Not if
Yeah.
you're probably a fan of either team, but if you're a fan of football, it became a fun game to watch. So,
I got pretty frustrated when Barr dropped that interception right before half, and then the Eagles ended up getting a field goal out of it.
yeah.
That was a frustrating moment because that was. I mean, he
Oh,
should have
absolutely.
caught that.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's why they're defensive backs. You're not a
That's why
receiver.
he's not even defensive
Oh
back,
yeah,
right? Is
exactly. Yep.
back?
He's a linebacker. Yeah. Yep. Well, I mean, that's technically defensive back, right?
I guess.
The
Yeah,
last
you're
the
right.
last half of that is
Yeah.
backer, right? So
Sure.
defensive.
Front half of it's line, so he's just as
Oh, but
he is
backing
a
up the line in the backfield.
yeah he's just as much of a line man as he is a defensive back.
So I will
Because you don't call
say
corner backers.
that is true, but they don't back the corner up. They don't back
No.
themselves into a corner. They better not. I don't
Our
like
guys feel like they're backing the corners up.
Actually, you know what? I will say Wright played pretty well. I was actually happy with Wright.
I like Wright.
If Joseph were in there, man, that would
I would have been. So this is one of the things I like about Wright. Like he forced that guy backwards and touched him just enough that they kept the clock
yes,
running
yep,
when he was
yep,
out of
yep,
bounds.
yep.
Do you remember last week? I feel like on a play, the guy caught it and fell to the ground, and he just stood there looking at him. And then as soon as the guy started to stand up, he touched him. Like he has more clock awareness than Dak has, more clock awareness than any of our coaches have. Like he seems to have clock awareness where our other guys are just like, clock, what are you talking about? Oh, there's a play clock? That's what that little clock is? That's what I feel like. The only thing I will give Dak credit for on the play clock as opposed to a quarterback we had previously is
name.
Yeah, the who's now an announcer,
right,
and not Troy Aikman. he would let the play clock run out constantly. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
like all the time. And Dak never lets the play clock run out.
True.
He probably should have let the clock run out in this game and slid down, but
man, how far back to back kind of plays where he could have
and then the
stayed
sack.
inbounds, and yeah, it's just
terrible.
That was frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I feel like it was a
shades of him. It's his shades of him saying, instead of saying defer, picking a direction to play. Remember that on the kick, on the coin flip? Yeah.
So, Dak Prescott, people knock him all the time, and I get it. But I mean, your toughest games in football, what would you say your toughest games are? Like interconference
division
games, right?
Yeah,
by far. You know what his record is in the division?
I'm gonna guess he's lost 1 or 2
since he's been in the league. He is 27-6.
That's pretty good.
And I don't care how the division's had its ups and downs, but so have the
Cowboys. I bet that's the Cowboys are 27-6 because I think his record's better than that. I feel like he's only lost to the Giants. That's him.
His record against is yes. So it didn't change against the Eagles the first time. It didn't change, So, but listen. I mean,
that's amazing. That's like Tom Brady.
There's another guy who has that same kind of stat. His is better. No. I don't know how Tom is in this division. But remember, Miami always beat Tom Brady. For some reason, Miami could always beat him. Your favorite quarterback of all time? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
He is. I think he's only lost twice in this division.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in all the teams that we put together with Dak there, like that's pretty impressive. So I don't think he's lost to Washington at all. I think he's lost once to the Giants, and I think the rest have been to
the Eagles.
Yeah. So, but that's been impressive to me. So that to me says if you can win those games, then I don't know.
Yeah.
I like that. No, that's a stat I think is worthy of talks.
Yeah, for sure.
So, favorite part about the game? You have a...
Oh, I mean, I'm sure our favorite part's going to be the same. T.Y. Hilton getting in for one play. Well, it's the second play. Getting in for 2 plays and having a 50-yard catch, diving outstretched arms, which he was actually open with one of the best corners in the league covering him. And Dak put the ball on the spot, like exactly where it needed to be. He caught it with his hands.
I feel
Like
like
that
I
was
kind of
that
need
was.
to apologize to T.Y. Hilton
He didn't
for
catch it
calling
with his
him.
arms. He caught it with his hands.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can play like. I mean, you made your
Right.
sprint.
He may
You
not.
he
Yes.
sprint.
He might be
He
the
might
guy that
have a
comes in like
sprint a game.
five plays a game or something like
Yeah.
that. But I need
But
to apologize to him for calling him a
yeah,
washed up has been.
yeah,
I feel like you should probably say something to him as well. But
he's a professional. Like he made a professional catch, and we have other guys on our team who are not professional. Have you noticed how, other than Amari Cooper, who is already good, every receiver that leaves the Cowboys disappears from the league?
yeah, well, Beasley keeps coming back.
Yeah, but he might as well not. Like he's left two teams. But like the receivers that leave the Cowboys, people think they're going to be good. What happened to the guy last year that went to Miami? He's nowhere to be
He
seen.
got Sheffield kind of took over there.
Yeah. So like that, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
are just they can't make it on another team because we must have a bad receivers coach because our receivers are just not good.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what's going on there, to be honest with you. I'm with you. There's something, but we've always talked about that. We've talked about that since the beginning of the season. There's something wrong with
So,
our receivers would never make another squad. Like,
so do we get until T.Y. Hilton made that catch? Did we have four receivers with a catch or only three?
I don't know. I didn't keep up that way.
But just think about it. Like it just in your mind, can you picture another receiver besides Noah Brown, CeeDee Lamb, or Gallup having a catch this year before T.Y. Hilton did?
Right. No, I agree with you. Yeah.
Tolbert? No. The other T word? No. None of those guys. Washington? No. Like
Yeah.
it's just I don't know. There's something a mess askew.
Washington is a guy that just I don't even know what happened there. I didn't like him when he played for Pittsburgh. I didn't think he was anything special.
I changed my mind on what my favorite play of the game was. I have two others that I really appreciated as well.
Okay.
Biotish recovering that fumble.
Yeah, that was nice. It was needed.
That was nice. And then even though Dak didn't slide, that run was a big run that he made.
Yeah.
Because it was.
But I don't think it makes it a favorite play when you run out of bounds when you can.
Yeah. I wonder. I honestly wonder. Did he think they were already past the 2-minute warning?
He could, but I think that's quarterback's job is to not just assume.
When you have running backs who slide down before they go into the end zone because they know what they're doing, you would think the quarterback should do it.
Quarterback should have the knowledge and the thought process to make that happen. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the fact that he didn't doesn't makes it not my favorite play. The T.Y. Hilton
It was a big play though.
It was a big play though. It was. The T.Y. Hilton was a big bailout for us. So I mean, third and forever, and you don't really have a play for that. But it seems like somehow the Cowboys did because well, maybe we just knew. So.
How about you? Was that your favorite play?
That was my favorite play. Yeah. I mean, I liked the Bland interception.
Yeah.
The Cowboys would have had a third interception. Remember when I don't remember who it was, but with Goddard, they were picking off Goddard and he went down with the ball together, and Goddard just stands up, and I mean Goddard's a big boy.
Yeah.
Made you realize how big he was when he stood up and just pulled that ball up. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was. But
Wilson played good too. Wilson played good.
Yeah.
Donovan Wilson, like he rushed, he stopped some runs really well, like put some hits on the players.
I feel like we say a lot of things good about the defense. Now the defense didn't give up the 34 points; they gave up 27. So, but I feel like the defense wasn't there as much as.
No, not at all. And how did you feel Diggs played?
Bad. I felt like he jumped too much in this game, and there was no safety help there to allow him to jump. That first drive, there was a first drive with Devontae Smith running down the field, and Diggs got.
He thought he had a pick.
Yep.
But
and then the touchdown.
I'm torn on Diggs
because Devontae Adams. That was
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown. Yeah.
AJ Brown had one play on him.
That was it. That was the one.
Right. And then, so that's why I'm torn, because Diggs did kind of shut A.J. Brown down, except for that.
But he also gave up that touchdown to Devontae Adams.
He did. He
And
gave up that couple first time.
that was bad because he came off leaving him alone in the all alone, and there was no safety over that way. The safety's in the middle. This guy's all by himself over on the left-hand side of the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
I probably could have made that catch. I say probably, but if I was in the right area, if I could get myself to that spot,
right, you could have made that catch, but you would have caught it at the 5-yard line because you wouldn't have made it to the end zone yet.
Right, but also just to be fair, I would have gotten a touchdown too because there is not one Eagle defender that would say we have to cover that guy, so let him run wherever the heck he wants.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
I would be the lone receiver on the left, and the entire team, including the front line, would shift to the right, and I'd just be standing there, and everybody would be covered, and I'd be all alone, and nobody would say, that dude's all alone. They'd be like, fat old guy in the corner, yeah, leave him be. So,
but he threw that in a 3 count.
I might have to roll into the end zone, but I'm going into the end zone.
He would have thrown it on a 3 count, and when Devontae Smith was in the end zone on a 3 count, you would have been at the 5 or 6 probably.
Right, and it probably would have started at the 4. So yeah.
Right, and you would have whoa, wait,
get busy.
Caught it. And then it would have been one of those like dives for the pylon because DeMarcus Lawrence would have been breathing down your neck.
Why was DeMarcus Lawrence there?
Because he would have been able to.
Oh,
he would have been rushing the passer. No, he would have been rushing the passer, turn around and come back for you. There.
Oh.
So.
Yeah. I've forgotten this scenario. I'm an Eagle. Yeah.
Yeah, you're an Eagle. I know. You said earlier the Eagles wouldn't have covered you. And
yeah. Well, I mean, they wouldn't have either. Nobody would have covered me. You could put all 32 teams, and they'd be like, we have 8 people on. Yep, nope, leave that guy. He needs somebody. Can we cover with somebody? Why?
Yeah. Is he wearing shoulder pads? Nope, that's just the way he looks.
He looks like he's got this tube thing around him. Nope, that's just his gut. Does he have extra
padding? Does he have extra padding in the back end, or what's going on back there?
I'm pretty sure he's smoking a cigar. Yeah. Did you see Replacements?
Yes.
The kicker. He used to always smoke. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Is he smoking? Yep, he is. What are they gonna do? Yeah, that would be me. So, I wouldn't be smoking a cigarette though.
I have a big picture question.
Okay.
The last 2 weeks, I feel like our clock management at the end of the game has been terrible.
I feel like I've been on key.
Terrible.
Honestly.
Are you worried about that heading into the future, into the playoffs, or you think it's just
worry about situation? That. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think it's just this year. Our clock management has been terrible for years. It's like our run defense. It's like they must somehow be tied together because we can never have a run defense and we can never manage the clock. Right. We take timeouts in with us like we can use them again in the next game or the next half. It's like, let's not use those. The guys are like, I mean, Micah Parsons calls a timeout because he's winded. Like,
right.
Shouldn't somebody be like, hey, you know what?
He was trying. No one was calling it. He's sitting there going, timeout. I need this break. And what's crazy is that timeout that the Eagles what's his name was making such a massive deal about for the Carolina Panthers. The Eagles still had that timeout at the end of the game. Yeah. They never used it.
Yeah, so I do. You asked me if I think it's a problem and it'll be a problem going forward. Yeah, I do. I think it will definitely be an issue going forward.
And I'm not just talking about the clock management. I'm talking about, do you think they should have kicked that field goal at the end? Or do you think they should have gone for it on 4th? The Cowboys.
I get that we're up. I would have taken the points because it makes a difference in going into overtime.
Yeah.
So we're up by 3. Lord knows we give up yardage between the
20s.
Between the 20s. So,
but they would have been starting on like 4.
Oh, yeah. Have you never seen that before? I mean, I don't know. Do you want to go back some games and take a look at what the Cowboys have given up?
I've seen Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers do that. I haven't seen Gardner Minshew do that, and I'm a Gardner Minshew fan.
You are a big fan of Gardner Minshew. They could have rocking here.
Don't you feel like you should have like a 2-point conversion play, like your best 2-point conversion play from that spot right there, and just run that thing? Which, you know what ours would have been? Ours would have been like a double reverse and a toss from Peyton Hendershot somehow.
It would have been a double reverse, backwards lateral.
Peyton Hendershot trying to throw it to like
exactly, yes.
James Washington. The one play Washington is in the game, and he's like, "Where do I go again?"
Wait, am I defending on this one? I don't understand.
Forgot. Do we just bat it down, knock it down? Yeah.
I know it comes here, not here.
Right.
I got it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like the call to kick the field goal. To be honest with you, you would have rather gone for points for the touchdown.
We won. So I guess that's the answer. I was thinking, if I were the Eagles, what would I not want the Cowboys to do? And if I were the Eagles, I would not want the Cowboys to go for it there. Like if I were an Eagles fan watching that game, I would have been like, kick it. Please kick it.
Right.
Kick it. And
because there's a chance.
Right.
But to me, I think Cowboys are giving up too many yards between the 20s, and that might allow the field goal and putting it in overtime. And this game was back and forth. It wasn't a game that we were holding a lead for a long period of time. No. So I could see them getting the ball to start the overtime.
They had also lost Lane Johnson. So you're thinking maybe the Cowboys can get some pressure now. But like Bill Simmons, he always talks about how you should always do what the opposite fan base doesn't want you to do. What they're hoping you don't do, that's what you should do. And so like I was just thinking, I think the Cowboys should kick it here.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll go for it. Go for it, not kick it. But I get it, and we won, so who cares?
I'm happy with where we went. So
yeah. Cool.
Yep. So that's that. I think it was a good game. I want to point out you had as a final score, if I can find it here, you had it was really bad. You had 31-28.
That was close.
You also had 31-28 as your. Wait a minute, I think I wrote these down wrong. Man, you had it wrong, but you had it. I think you picked 31-28 on the second, and I don't remember. I know I was better. I know I was closer. I can grab the sheet, but let's face it, it was a closer deal by me.
Oh, you know what you were completely wrong on?
All my paperwork's over there because we've been ITing the heck out of this.
Bad call by an official that gave the Cowboys 8 points and then one by the Eagles to give them 7? Like, what were they? What were the calls?
Oh, well, first you were probably paying attention to when the coach ran into the referee. And
you see that? What were you thinking when that happened? Were you thinking, please don't take any time doing this? Please. Let him just get back up and go.
I didn't see
that the woman ref ran over Mike McCarthy.
Ran over Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
She ran over Mike McCarthy.
And then he had to pull his turtleneck.
Project that is. She would have had to have gear on. She would have had to have. There's no way she ran over Mike McCarthy.
He had to pull his turtleneck back over.
Was he wearing a jacket? Again,
yes. Yes, he was. I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
There was a lot of people that looked cold in that stadium, though, weren't there? I saw a few on the sidelines that looked like they were cold, which I thought was odd.
Another big problem I have. Why do we not understand the sunlight coming through the stadium thing? Because this happened to us once before. Remember?
Yes.
Gallup?
Yes, yep.
Couldn't see it because the sun got in his eyes in the end zone, which it was right there for him
to catch that. To that very spot.
Right. We called the play to that
exactly
spot.
Right.
And then he's just like, I couldn't see it. But that happened last year, too, in the playoffs.
Yep.
And
it's our stadium. We designed the stadium to be that way for the opposing team, not against us. Right. So, yes, I'm with you. This is a solid point. I am giving you credit on this. First time ever, I'm giving you credit because that is exactly a problem with the Cowboys. How do we not know the sun's coming in? We should have like a sundial that tells us where the sun's going to be and know it just because of history.
Then how about the announcers saying this is really going to affect the defense, but it's not going to affect the offense because they're both looking into the sun? You know? Like, how does it affect the defense more than the offense? Well, they're both looking back into the sun.
The Cowboys kind of feel that way too, though. So
man.
Maybe
so yeah, that's probably what The
Maybe we're
Cowboys,
just the
maybe
idiots.
we're
Yeah.
wrong. Maybe we're crazy.
Right, that's what I'm
So
saying.
I have a couple solutions. One, when you defer like we did, then pick the way that the sun's not going to be in your eyes when you're passing the ball. I have 3 solutions.
Which
2,
is simple, by the way. Just call a play to the other side. But go ahead. Yes.
that's my second.
Yep.
That's my second. Call the pass play to where the sun's not in your eyes. 3, why couldn't we have just some blinders that we take down, cover up the sun when we have the ball, lift them back up when we don't?
You're not allowed to do that.
Okay, then just cover them. Then just close it when the sun's pouring in there.
Because, Jonathan, that is an advantage to us because we know how the sun works in this stadium. It's an advantage to us. So why would we?
It's just we probably don't. Do we just not expect to be playing any important games in December and January? Is that it? Is we're like, well, I mean, it's not really going to affect most of the year.
4:30
It'll only
games
affect.
too. It's set for the 4:30 games, and that's the funny thing about the whole thing. Yeah, but yeah, no, it is. It's an absurd, stupid deal.
That's infuriating.
You're in charge. You know it's your advantage, and
Yes.
you can't figure it out. After it's not like this is our first game in the stadium. I mean, it's not, right? We've played more than one game in the stadium. I mean, I know I was there just a few weeks back, but maybe it was a different stadium.
We played I think we'll end up playing around 8 at home this year.
Really?
If the Eagles lose 2 more, we might get to 9, but I don't know. So here's another question I have.
Yes.
Is it a requirement for players on the sidelines that aren't in uniform when the camera goes on them to spit?
That does happen a lot, doesn't it?
Oh man, Leighton Vanders, they put the camera on him. He's like, and how does he have so much spit in his mouth? They're not. He's not. I was looking. Is he chewing tobacco?
No, he wasn't. Other podcast in America, folks, where you can learn about the apparel of the team and about the spitting habits. So, if you're looking, this is the place. This is your spot for what happens on the sidelines as well as in the game. That is not something that other podcasts offer. This is it.
We should have called this podcast Spit Shine because we have the sun shining.
We can call it Spit Shine. I haven't named it yet.
But like, I mean, he just spit so much. Like it was like he was sucking on a lozenge and just was saving it and being like, "Man, they got to get the camera here pretty soon, or I'm gonna have to swallow this." Oh, there it is.
Well, it was last year we were on the field and somebody said, "Don't lay on the field. Don't lay on the field," because everyone lays on the field and they're like, "Think about what happens on this field." That's one every of them. Time blood, spit, sweat.
I don't get it. Yeah.
So we're coming up on an irrelevant, unimportant, non-factor game that is important to us, but our opponent really doesn't need, which is it's really an anomaly in football that you need next week's game. This game means 0 to you. So we are in that game. So that said, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, and by that I mean they're going to be resting everybody. We can certainly win this game, but do we rest people? And my answer I'm going to give first before I ask you. My answer is no, we don't. And my answer is no, we don't for the whole game. I would like to see us get a good, comfortable lead, maybe play all of our starters for the first half, and then shift out. Because we need to get this timing down. This issue we have between Dak Prescott and the receivers fixed. And, I mean, there's something missing there. There's something totally off there. So I think that's one piece that we have to get done before we can just rest players. I think we have to see if the Eagles win before we can rest. If the Eagles
do we have enough players to rest? Wait, we play Thursday, don't we? We can't
play Thursday. That's what I'm saying. This week is not an option for me. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, if the Eagles win Sunday, then we can rest next week.
But I hope they do. I hope the Eagles win and we do rest next week and we go in fresh to the game.
I'm like them being 5 seed.
Yeah, me too. I'd actually kind of rather be the 5 seed than the 1 seed. Because I don't think they'll get the 1 seed. I think they'll get the 3 seed, the Cowboys. If the Eagles fall out, I think the Cowboys will end up in the 3 seed, and then we'll be playing like the Giants or something like that. And I'd rather play either Tampa or Carolina at this point. But I agree with you. I think the Titans are playing with Malik Willis as their quarterback.
Yep.
Yeah.
Should bring up our sacks again because Lord knows we need to figure out how to get to a quarterback. If we can't sack him, I'm done. I'm not done.
Yeah.
But
I think we I'm with you. I think we build a big lead and then rest players. But I would like to see him out there. I would like to see T.Y. Hilton getting a few more plays with Dak. I don't care if T.Y. Hilton plays with Cooper Rush. I don't want to see that.
And
I want to see him with Dak.
Right, and Washington can go out in the second half and get down some.
Yeah, let's not cut him this week. Yep. Let's keep Washington till right before the playoffs.
And see if he can catch the ball.
Yeah.
And watch him be outstanding. Watch him catching with his hands, grabbing up here, running for 80 yards after a catch. Let's
put him, Jalen Tolbert, and Michael Gallup.
Tolbert was cut, wasn't he?
No, he's not cut.
Oh, I thought he was cut.
There's no way they're cutting a second round pick. We can't lose second round picks, man. We have to hold on to them for dear life. So I'm with you. I think I would like to see him build a big lead and then rest players and then nobody play in the last week.
Yeah. So other than that, I mean, what are you thinking for this game? What's your score projection for the big? I can't get a Titans fan on. It doesn't look.
40-3.
And why would one? Come on. 40-3. That's close to what I did. I think I did 42-9. I did 42-9.
Yeah. And I'm only picking 40 because I want to see them hit 40 again. It's probably really going to be more like 31-3.
Do you know after the Cowboys lose a game, their scores have been 40 points, 52 points, and 40 points after a loss? Yeah. Kind of feel like we need to lose that Washington game right before the playoffs.
No kidding. No kidding.
Yeah, I've been impressed with this, but yeah, that's where that's last game. But I do want to, before we go too far into the Titans game, I want to talk about we got to figure out the glory hole.
Oh, so, before we do power rankings and all that, we're going to do the glory hole?
We're going to do the glory hole first. Yep. I got glory hole, and I've already skipped over it one, so I don't want to skip it twice. So,
yeah, I get you.
Glory hole. Power rankings usually, we have to wrap up the last game. Okay. Glory hole should be wrapping up the last game, and then we're done with that last week. Okay. We're on to this week and forward. So, all right, let's go.
Now I understand the concept of the show.
It's the way this show has always not worked.
Week 16, and I finally understand.
Yes. Try being somebody who watches this. They're probably like, I don't understand. Every time Craig forgets the stupid glory hole or he forgets the power rankings and all that, but I know what's going on, folks. Don't you worry. I got your back.
So, am I going first with my glory hole nominees?
Sure.
Okay. If I had here's my nominees. My first nominee was that idiot Barr who dropped the interception, because that was a big, big moment in the game. Gave the Eagles a field goal. All that junk all the junk at the end wouldn't have even mattered if he had just intercepted that. Cowboys wouldn't have scored, but they wouldn't have either. That was just a free 3 points that we gave them. So I was like, that dude deserves the glory hole. I'm really down on Michael Gallup. I'm for putting him in the glory hole anytime we can. I can't get over that his catches are so freaking contested every time. And did you hear them talking about how Dak's completed passes have the smallest window of completion of any other quarterback in the league? And it's because he doesn't get open, man. He just doesn't get open. Yeah. Anyway, so I was for him. I'm really down in the present, not in the future, of Tyler Smith. Really down on that dude. When Dak should have thrown the ball away, should have thrown it through the back of the end zone, but he got sacked. It was Tyler Smith's guy that just ran by him, and Tyler Smith is standing there like, what happened? What happened? That infuriated me. So he was another person that I wanted to put in the glory hole. Right. Diggs, I wasn't as down on him as you were. And then I think, though, if I had a vote, I would vote Mike McCarthy. I think that the end of game, 2 games in a row, was terribly managed. I think he's to blame for it. I'm not 100% sure he actually knew what was going on most of the last little part of that game. And so that would be my vote.
All right. I am a big proponent of putting Diggs in there. I like Diggs a lot, and I think he's done a great job this year. I think this was the
game he sucked. This was the player who sucked most. Wait, one more thing. I think you could put any of our defensive linemen in there.
Yeah,
Because
you got
what
to
is
bear
going on
some.
with those
You know
guys?
what? Let's just make it the entire defensive line
Yeah,
because there is something happening. None of them. You hear all their names all year long, and now we have the biggest game we've got going, and
yeah,
I didn't hear any of their names. I
yeah.
mean, nothing. That's it. I'm with you. You know what? I'm
The
throwing
D
out my
line.
paperwork on that. I don't want to physically throw it because I got my whole organization here, but yeah, D line is in. It's the line,
Yeah.
period. And if
Yep.
they want to find out where to reach us because they're contesting this, I will gladly give them your address and you will teach them.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to tackle me. What are they going to do? They can't hit me. They can't hit anyone right
All
now.
you have to do is step
I'm not
back,
worried.
right? Because they couldn't get a tackle for a loss the entire game. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not worried. They'll line up off sides, I'm sure, on their way here.
wow,
So, yeah.
nice, yeah. All you have to do is
And
throw a flag.
it wasn't the first time. It wasn't just the first play when they lined up offsides like idiots. They were lining up offsides constantly, and I think the refs were just like, I can't call them on this every play. Remember when the Patriots did that? They told them to hold the Colts receivers because they're not going to call it on every down.
Yeah.
He said there's no way the officials will call it on every down, so just tackle them. And that's what they did. That's what I felt like the Cowboys were doing. We're just going to keep lining off offsides.
Yeah. There is, yeah, we're not going to get into officiating. Officiating has been driving me nuts this year. Like,
Yeah, that's
really
pretty terrible.
driving me crazy.
So, real quick, I do want to
Yes.
get off on officiating, but not the Cowboys.
Okay.
I want to talk about a basketball game that I watched, the officiating, just because this is, I think it is an epidemic that's not a pandemic. Well, maybe a pandemic because it was terrible officiating in the World Cup as well. So I'm going to call it a pandemic of officiating. In this basketball game, a guy fouls another guy, okay? Player A fouls player B. So
Right.
player B should be shooting free throws. But player C, who's 100%, like 92% free throw shooter, Klay Thompson, walks up and shoots the free throw instead of the guy who got fouled. The other team freaks out, starts yelling, why is he shooting free throws? The refs call a timeout. They go over, they look at the screen, and they're like, you're right, but he's already shot one. And they let him shoot the other one.
No.
Yes.
We
Golden
actually
State
had this as a conversation about the refs in football, allowing for, what was it? It was a extra point after, we said this was going to happen, after a field goal, allowing for an extra point attempt. Like, and that is just about what happened there. We're just going to disobey the rules because we screwed up. We're going to just continue with our screw up.
That 30% free throw shooter, this other guy's a little better, and he made the first one, so we're just going to let him continue the whole thing. Like, what are we supposed to do? Take the points off point off the board? What did the guy start over? And you know what? Okay, you may have to delete this part out of our podcast.
I don't know. I just got the computer set up, so be careful how we do this because I don't know if I can edit right now.
I'll tell you about my reasoning later.
So, all right. So we got some. Where are we? We're on power rankings now. Yes, we're on power rankings. We've given the entire defensive line. They're in the glory hole. So now we're on to power rankings. And I'm sure yours have changed.
Yeah, they have.
I'm sure yours have changed. Okay.
Lions are out. They're out of my power.
Absolutely.
So, number 1, Kansas City Chiefs. They had a dominant performance once again. No problems whatsoever. Number 2, my Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry, but if I recall last podcast, they were losing power. And I was an idiot for saying that I still believe in them.
Yeah.
And I was an idiot for keeping them in my power rankings. It was a joke to you, ha ha ha, with an Eagles fan. But today they're number 2.
So you were an idiot. Last week was the wrong week to keep them in your power rankings. They had just lost. This week to a terrible team. This week they won, so now they're in the power rankings.
Oh, so they just found new power, jumping them over.
They beat a team that was 14-1, Craig. Did you watch the game?
Jumping right over them.
Oh, not just jumping over Cincinnati. I'm kicking Cincinnati out of the power rankings.
Wow.
Did you watch that game? They should have lost to the Patriots. Patriots fumbled it away right at the end of the game. They played like garbage. So I'm promoting the Jacksonville Jaguars into my number 3 spot. They dominated again. They just beat the number 2 team in the power rankings. They dominated this past week. And it's not the whole season. It's the last 3 weeks. The last 3 weeks, the Jacksonville Jaguars have looked good.
I can't argue with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're up there in mine, but they're not on mine because I still kept the Cincinnati Bengals in. They won. I kept them in. And I'm not saying that's the only way out, but I kept them in. I've moved the 49ers up to number 2.
Who's number 1?
Who do you think is number 1?
The Chiefs? No. You put the Chiefs number 1?
No.
Oh, you're picking. So it's either got to be the Bills or the Dolphins.
It's the Cowboys.
Oh, good.
Yeah, is that acceptable to you? Is that acceptable to you? Do you accept this?
Yeah.
Okay.
1 or 2.
So for the Cowboys. I've got the Cowboys, 49ers, Bengals in my power ranking. My losing power, my pretty much done out of power. The gas station was 8 miles back. You should have stopped, but you were an idiot and you didn't check to see if you had enough gas to get to the next gas station, which is 14 miles ahead, and you're in the middle of the desert, and it's getting dark, so it's not just desert, but it's starting to get cold in the desert, is the Tennessee Titans. It's worthless. There's nothing left. They
lost power a long time ago. Weeks ago.
I'm just
you should have made that. You should have made that call like weeks ago.
They had their spot and now they don't.
That's like me saying, well, that Model T is a terrible car to get and drive. Blah, blah, blah.
Have you driven a Model T?
No, I've seen people driving them, and I make fun of them and try to run them off the road.
You just come up with different motorcycle that you don't even know anything about. I see. So that's what you're going to do is critique me on something that you just admittedly have no idea about. But go ahead.
Yeah. So that's your losing power team. My losing power team is
Denver Broncos again.
They fired their coach.
They did, yes. Well,
is Russell Wilson the worst quarterback in the NFL?
Boy.
Which Wilson is worse?
Let's go back to that. Give me your losing power because we're going to talk about Russell Wilson because I like that topic and we'll extend our time here a little bit because of that.
So I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I can give you that. I can see that. I accept that. I can, and I had them as an option as well.
Do the Carolina Panthers worry you at all about being in if that's who the Cowboys play first?
Not as much as Tampa Bay, and I hate to say that, but Tampa Bay, it's Tom Brady. No, I'm not worried by the Panthers are playing well. They are, but I see a loss to Tampa Bay before I see a loss to. How about you?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, they almost gained 400 yards rushing.
I know.
Which has me nervous.
But
because, that's not our strong suit. So.
Do we have a strong suit right now? I don't even know if we have a suit.
Offense.
Yeah. So, I mean, have the Carolina Panthers put up 40 points? I'm asking sincerely. I don't know the answer to that.
Didn't they just do it against?
I don't know what the score was. Right. It wasn't a game I really sat down and watched. So.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was Christmas Eve, so I was, we had guests coming over. I was drinking some wassail. I might become a wassailholic, by the way.
They're good.
I'd never had it, and I heard it on the other podcast, and I'd heard of it before, and I knew it was a drink, but I didn't know much about it. So I'd heard your podcast. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make some wassail. I don't care what it is. I'm gonna make some wassail, and I did. I found some old recipes, and I made it, and I was like, man, this is good, and it really is. So I went wassailing. I didn't go wassailing. I didn't go out wassailing, and I don't have a big communal bowl, but I did.
You know what's weird? It's going to sound disgusting, but if you put homemade whipped cream in that wassail, it's so good.
I almost did because that's in the recipe, and I'm like, I thought you dabbed it on top. So
you do.
And I was like, I don't know.
It's so good. It doesn't seem like it would be, but it's really, really good.
It could be because it almost gives it probably a sherbety kind of feeling to it. So I was thinking when I read it, I'm like, it sounds like, and I had it, so I was like, but I didn't put it in. And the reason I didn't is because it's from the 1700s. I'm like, they didn't really have whipped cream. Like, nobody was making whipped cream back in the 1700s.
They're just squirting it straight out of the udder.
That's probably what it was, yes. They just, hey, bring on the cow, Joseph. And Joseph would come up there and, and they make that noise, too, cows, when you, I don't know if you knew that. I'm a long-time farmer, first-time caller.
What did you think about the Golden Tee for football and
I like
other
that.
stuff? Yeah, that's a good idea.
I like that one. But we'll talk about that off this podcast because that's a different podcast. And I don't mind promoting it, but
I get you.
But So where were we? What were we? Oh,
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. So I was reading about Russell Wilson because we've had this conversation before, and it appears that Russell Wilson is another coached up great. I mean, he was a great player in Seattle, but it was coaching, as you and I have talked about. But he wanted to be the gunslinger, and that's what intrigued him about leaving Seattle, because they weren't letting him be a gunslinger and
Right.
carrying
Let
the
Russ
load.
cook.
And it does not work. And kudos to him for wanting to get outside that box he was put in, but it didn't work.
He has more bathrooms in his house in Denver than he has touchdown passes.
Yeah. Yep. Have you been to his house in Denver?
No, Sierra and I don't get along, is why.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Falling out. So,
yeah.
Which Wilson is worse?
Ooh, wow. No, it's
Zach.
It's Zach Wilson. Listen, when your team punts more than you complete passes, and you don't feel like you let down the defense.
Who's worse, Zach Wilson or Jamarcus Russell?
Oh, that's got to be Jamarcus Russell, but it's damn close. I mean, that could be number
does
one
it have
and number
to be
two
Jamarcus
bust.
Russell? Yeah.
Jamarcus Russell was given a blank tape and sent home and asked what he thought about it the next day.
Would you be surprised if that story came out about Zach Wilson later?
No, it wouldn't. It would not surprise me one bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's I think that he's probably the worst performing active. Is he starting still now? I don't even know, because I was going to say
he started last week.
Right. So he's probably the worst starting active quarterback in the league right now. Less Zach.
Would you rather have Gardner Minshew or Zach Wilson?
I'd rather have Gardner Minshew by far.
Gardner Minshew or Russell Wilson?
Gardner Minshew.
Yeah. Gardner Minshew or I think Gardner Minshew is the second or third. We'll say Jalen Hurts is better. But Gardner Minshew is the third best quarterback in the NFC East.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. Yeah.
Daniel Jones and that.
I even put him. Listen, Eagles have scored 40 points how many times? 3 times this year? And
maybe. He almost did.
Well, he didn't, actually, because he was at 27, but yeah. But yeah. I mean, he's among, I would say he's in the league. I would put him in the top 20 quarterbacks in the league right now.
Yeah, I would put him 20, 25 right in that range. Yeah. Some top 20 or 25.
Yeah. All right. Have we missed anything? Are we good?
I think we're good.
Awesome. Hey, if you guys liked what you saw, like us, subscribe. If you think I deserve some points for all of my hard work and Jonathan holding out on point giving lately, make sure you comment about that, and maybe Jonathan will start giving out real points. If you like our new little cube here, I don't even know how it goes, but this cube that we're in, let us know. Otherwise, have a great day. Thank you, everybody. We will talk to you shortly. I guess we have another one coming up tomorrow.